Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome. We're glad you're here today for this hour session on how to use digital storytelling to activate student voice. And I'm Larry Moore. I'm one of KET's education consultants. I'll be acting as moderator for the session. So I'll be monitoring the chat, putting in some information from time to time, including how to get your PD certificate a little bit later. So watch for that in the chat. And I'll be doing that toward the end of the session. And right now, I'd like to introduce Elise Estrada, Senior Director, and Victor Fernandez, Youth Media Producer of PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs. And I'm going to turn the reins over to them and let them share a little bit more about their impressive bios, and then to tell you about this wonderful national program. And may I say before I turn it over to them that I feel like we're all very lucky to be able to have them here from this national project or program to present to us today. So again, I'm going to turn it over to you, Elise and Victor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Larry. Can you guys hear me okay? Is my sound okay?
Yes,
Okay,
we can hear you.
cool. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, Larry, I was going to say, we actually feel very lucky to be here with all of you today. So thank you so much for inviting us and for letting us speak with all of your incredible educators during your PD days. So yeah, Victor is going to share some slides and we can jump in and get started, but it's going to be a fun 50 minutes with us. We're going to try to make it as interactive as possible. And it's Friday, so that's just an extra bonus for us. All right, so here we are. So if you haven't already, I know that Larry prompted you guys as well, but please introduce yourself in the chat to us. We're going to take a look when we can. And also let us know, what do you hope to get out of this session? We want to know, and then we hope to address, what you hope to learn from us today. So as Larry mentioned, my name is Elise Estrada. I'm the Senior Director for PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs. And I have been at the organization for 4 years now. So I oversee our national program, which includes our network of schools. We have about 160 official schools, sites, or labs, as we call them. And what that means is that those schools work with us to produce youth media, student media, journalism, and we also partner with local stations, just like KET, to see how we can share all of those student stories on different platforms and to different audiences, including the PBS NewsHour. So my background is journalism, and I've always been at the intersection of education and journalism and really believe in the power of activating student voice and creating agency around the stories and issues that young people care about through the classroom. But now I'm going to hand it over to Victor.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here, and I was privileged enough to visit your great state and visit one of our great schools over there, and also work with KET at the school. So it was really great experience for me. I am a youth media producer for Student Reporting Labs. I've been with Student Reporting Labs for the past 5 years. Before that, I used to be a teacher, just like yourselves. So 15 years in the classroom teaching broadcast and journalism. So it's a great experience for me as well. So I'm here, or we're here, to help you as much as we can and provide our resources and everything that we can do for you to succeed in your classroom. So hopefully this is the beginning of a great partnership with you, and that, our doors are open to help you guys out and to assist you in any way that we can. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Victor. Yeah, so these are our goals for today. So we're going to tell you a little bit more about some of the resources that you can use right away in your classroom. You can consider them a little kind of like grab and go resources. And then we're going to do a little activity, a media making activity, where everybody here is actually going to be creating their own piece of media. And we're going to walk you through it step by step. So you don't have to worry about whether you know something or not. Like, it's not required. Everything is going to be like starting from step one. And what you're going to be using is a tool called Flipgrid. So that's something that some of you may already be familiar with. Some of you might be new to it, but it's okay. We're going to walk you through everything.
Yeah. So what we want to. So what we want you to do now is actually take out your phones, and we want you to go to the App Store real quick. So go to the App Store. If you're using Android or using an iPhone, you could go to your own app stores, and we want you to search for Flipgrid. Flipgrid. And you're gonna see the icon looks just like that. You have it right there for you. That's the one. And download it. Start downloading it now, so that way when we are gonna do the assignment, or we're gonna do the activity, it's already there. We don't have to wait for you to start downloading. So as long as you click download and it's downloading for you, we're good, because the next steps we're gonna go throughout later on in the presentation, okay?
Awesome. Yeah, and hopefully stable. Do I sound okay, Victor?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit, but
nope,
now you're fine.
Am I?
You're okay now. We can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, so Student Reporting Labs is a national youth journalism program. And what you see on screen here is the definition that we share with a lot of the educators that we work with. So we say that SRL is a project-based learning program focused on video storytelling, community journalism, and civic engagement. We're really at the intersection of a lot of different things. And at the core of it is really empowering students to be informed media creators and consumers. So we train specifically middle school and high school students to understand how to do video journalism and storytelling. And we've actually expanded now to doing even audio storytelling, so that they can understand how they can activate their own voice to figure out exactly what they want to learn more about and talk about in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So if we go to the next slide, these are just examples of the types of stories and topics that students have covered over the past 11 to 12 years. So as a national program, Student Reporting Labs was founded in 2009 by the managing editor of education for the NewsHour. Her name is Leah Klapman, with the intention of figuring out how we could create better experiences with news for young people. Because young people would say, you know, I understand what news is, but I can't relate to it because I don't see myself represented in the news. I don't see in the news. So the goal of Student Reporting Labs is really to try to change that and see how more diverse perspectives can be added to the media landscape through student voice, but also how young people can help us and can help future generations figure out exactly what they want to talk about and what issues are important to them. So over the years, we've covered things like disabilities. We've done a lot of work around elections, letters to the next president, immigration. I'm looking at one of the series here, New Americans, that I remember a lot of our schools in Kentucky actually submitted to, and we have a lot of great pieces from them. Misinformation, media literacy is also something that we talk about. So there's a lot of great stuff here. And you could also go to studentreportinglabs.org to find out more and check out some of the student produced content that you see here. And if we go to the next slide. I wanted to show everybody this piece. It's our year in review. And basically every year we have this student academy where students from across the country can apply to do a 1 to 2 week intensive boot camp with us. And we try to put this video together for them and for everybody to see, just to kind of show a summary of the work that we've been able to produce with students every year. This is from the past year, 2020, 2021. And as everybody here knows, you know, it's been like a really tough year. So we've learned a lot about how we can work differently with students in digital spaces. And actually the activity that we're going to be doing with you today is very similar to what we've been able to do with them over the past year. So let's watch this video so you can get a sense of some of the pieces, some of the stories that students have produced and have gone on to the NewsHour and to other local stations or media outlets. All right, Victor, let's play. Victor, I don't think we can hear the audio.
Let me share once again with the optimize for audio. Sorry about that.
It might be your headphones too.
I think we're fine now. Let me see. Can you hear it?
Yes, but we can't see the video. Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Let me try that one more time. All right, here we go.
Our Student Reporting Labs program teamed up with Detroit Public Television for a series of video diaries to document this very unusual school year as it unfolds.
The start of school is going to be very chaotic.
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also excited to get back to school.
I'm Corey McCowan, a Student Reporting Labs journalist from Omaha, Nebraska. And today I'm here with Garen Stagling, chairman of One Mind.
I want to invite you to a very special youth election town hall tonight.
Do you think Gen Z is going to show up at the polls?
100 billion% they're going to show up at the polls.
Give us a sense of what school looks like for you day to day and how it's going so far.
It's just really stressful trying to balance all of that with college applications and not even knowing what college is going to look like.
Student Reporting Labs, which is our journalism training program, explores how the criminal justice system can create obstacles for kids and families.
17-year-old Excellence Glenn's father was released from prison in 2005.
Some kids, they don't really want to talk about it. They think that it's bad, but it's not something you should be embarrassed about.
We the Young People is a PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs event focusing on the issues that Gen Z cares about and how they view this very contentious moment in America.
The fact that you are so involved and engaged gives me hope that democracy will be restored in the future.
What does it mean to all of you to have a woman be elected for the first time Vice President of the United States?
It just felt like another barrier that was put in place to hold us back got knocked down.
At the I Promise School in Akron, Ohio, teacher Angela Horton wanted her students to see that Black history isn't something that only happened in the past. It happens every single day through each of them.
My name is Brandon Starks.
I'm Marianne Miller. I'm Shador Smith, and I'm Black History.
And I am Black History. And I am Black History.
We asked our network of student journalists to reflect on how their world has changed and what they're looking forward to once the pandemic is over.
It's been a year.
It's very overwhelming in this time just to exist.
Student Reporting Labs and John Barnes of Arlington, Virginia explored what's been coined Zoom fatigue.
Zoom fatigue.
High schoolers may have it worse than anyone. Students have classes on Zoom all day long. For a year, it's been a constant struggle for me and many of my fellow students.
Now a sneak peek at a unique program premiering tonight on the NewsHour's website and our YouTube page. It's called Disrupted, How COVID-19 Changed Education.
This school year was a doozy. Things went downhill immediately. Ever since September, I'm really hoping that my story can set somebody on the right path.
On Our Minds with Noah and Zion, we'll explore the biggest mental health challenges facing teens today.
It's okay to have bad moments. It's not an uphill climb. It's a mountain range. It's like you kind of go up and down and all around.
No one deserves to be miserable. You don't deserve to live like that. You deserve to live a joyful, beautiful life.
It is your voices, student voices, that are critical to solving these problems. And not just in education, but for the many challenges our country faces. We need to hear from you now more than ever.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Victor, for playing that. Yeah, and even in a year like we've had, there were still so many student contributions, and you're probably wondering, like, how could your students potentially contribute to something like this? And so we wanted to share a few resources that you could think about just to get started. And then there's also a lot of future opportunities coming up. So I'll share all of that in just a second. But just to start out, if you're interested in applying to be a lab, so the way that our program works right now is that we have an application on our website. So if you go to studentreportinglabs.org, you can apply to be a lab. And that basically means is that you would be added to our youth media producer program. So Victor, as he mentioned, is one of our youth media producers, and he oversees all of the schools that we work with right now in Kentucky and also several other different states. So that would be the application process. But if you just want to kind of play around with some of our resources and you're not sure if you want to do something that's fully committing to the program, we're really flexible. There's really a lot that you could do because everything that we do, everything that we share is open access. It's open to the public. It's free. We want to share as many resources as we can with as many people as possible. So this is a great slide here, and we'll share the slides with everybody here so that you have access to them and you can look at them after. But our newsletter is a great place to start because that's where we share, what we're doing, what projects students are contributing to, and any program updates that might be of interest to you. We also have a great series of, we call them Level Up tutorial series. So if you're just thinking about, maybe you want your students to do a video diary, which is actually what you're going to be doing today. You can have them watch a Level Up tutorial that we have on video diaries. We also have videos about B-roll, about audio production, just things to kind of get started. And that you can watch as an educator, but you could also watch and share that with students to watch. We also have a bunch of lesson plans that you can access on our website. And then we have, as I mentioned before, Victor, who is happy to schedule an office hour with any of you to talk about story ideas that your students might have. Victor, do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. So once we share the slides with you, you just click right on the link and my calendar pops up. Once my calendar pops up, you could just select a time that you might want to meet with me for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. And then I can meet with you and go over your story, go over how to, introduce student report labs to your classroom. You could even schedule for me to talk to your students if you want me to, or teach them something, or show them something. So definitely, we work a lot with the schools, and we want to be able to be there for them and provide our resources as much as we can. So that calendar is for you guys to be able to select the time and say, hey Victor, I want to talk about this or that. And that's the thing, you can leave your notes there and say, hey, I really need help with setting up my classroom, or I really need help to really be able to tell this story. And that's definitely the personal touch that we have with our labs, where it's not just the resources that we have available on our website. You actually have a person who's willing to help you and talk to you and hopefully answer some of your questions. So.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't have to be an official lab to take advantage of scheduling an office hour with Victor. Because we have such great partners with KET, we want to offer that service, and also anything else that you see on this slide. And then something else that I wanted to share that's upcoming for Student Reporting Labs, Victor, if you go to the next slide, is something called StoryMaker. So StoryMaker is a new platform that we have been building for the last couple of years that's actually going to take basically like our curriculum and deliver it in a new way. So everything that you see currently on our website is going to be added to StoryMaker, and it's going to be a self-directed online curriculum platform that anybody anywhere can access to to find resources about, simple storytelling, if you want to do video journalism, how to start a broadcast program, how to do like a capstone project using media making with your students. It's going to be pretty all-encompassing. So as it says here, it's real-world project-based student-centered learning, and it's going to include all of the projects that will result in things like you saw in that year in review video that we just watched. So if you're interested in learning more and finding out when we launch, what resources are going to be available, in the slides, you can click on that sign up link, sign up to get updates on launch, and we'll add you to our email roster so that you know when it's going to be officially online. So that's something really great to look forward to. So now let's jump into the activity that we want to do with everybody here today. So one of the big things that we talk to students and educators about all of the time is the importance of story, and how story can really help students in particular talk about issues that they're interested in, but they may not really know exactly where to start or how to kind of wrap their heads around it. So we really think about it as coming from a place of story. So there's a couple of questions on the next slide that I want everybody to consider and to answer in the chat, or if you want to unmute, feel free. We'd love to hear from you. The first one is, why is it important to make space for students to share their stories? That's the first question. And Victor, if you click enter again, we can pull up the second question, which is, how can the ability to create media help students gain a deeper understanding of specific issues? So you can either answer both questions or just one of them, but think about these two things. Why is it important to make space for students to share their stories? And how can the ability to create media help students gain a deeper understanding of specific issues? So if anybody wants to unmute and share, please go ahead too, but also answer in the chat. All right, we've got some answers coming in. So Lindsay in the chat said, so that they have a voice. Students will feel more engaged if they are able to have a voice. Absolutely. Kate Barrows, sharing and listening to personal stories helps build empathy and a larger worldview. Absolutely. So students can see another perspective and gain empathy towards others, says Martha. Vince says, learn self-expression in an appropriate manner. Absolutely. And then Michelle says, I have found many students today do not feel they have a voice or feel heard. That is why I believe my classroom is so important, because I tell them that everyone has a story to share. Absolutely. And that's also the message that we share and want to share with students all of the time. Amazing. You guys are so great. Thank you so much for all of your answers. These are fantastic. And for question 2, just want to get to a couple. Corey says, by getting students involved through media, students will come to understand that they have a voice and take greater interest. Absolutely. Yeah. And it also, I think a couple of you have been saying this, but it really does help them understand connections to what they might be learning in the classroom, to what they can see in the real world or outside of the classroom and in their community. They can start making those connections in a really real way. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for your answers. And so I think what everybody said is reflected exactly here in this slide. So it really does help you initiate meaningful conversations, and also help students process current events. So if something major is happening, whether it's in your town or on a national level, talking about it from their perspective, how it may be impacting them, can help them understand and how to process it. That is something we learned during the pandemic, that students really wanted to talk about what was going on with them. And so doing that through stories, through personal narratives, really helped them. And then of course it helps you learn how to create and use different forms of communications and media that students are already using anyway. So a quick quote that I have here from a student in our program: I grew tired of hearing everyone's story except for my communities. There are stories out there that need to be told, so if no one else will share them, then I will. I mean, that's really incredible, and that's so empowering, and that's what we want all students to feel like. All right, Victor, your turn.
So today you'll be producing a video diary. And what is a video diary? A video diary is a personal view of how you see the world. It often includes candid reaction and thoughts spoken right to camera. And we saw an incredible number of students that, that really shine with having, this, them telling their stories through video diaries. Video diaries is a powerful tool. My own kids, even use this in the classroom. It doesn't have to be a broadcast classroom to do this, but they were able to share their story. They were able to share a topic. They were able to share, what's going on in the world today. So it's a great way to really have students share their voices. And here's a great example. You're going to see some compilation of what we've done this year, especially throughout the pandemic, where kids could not go outside of their homes, or kids were not able to do normal stories like they're used to out in their schools or in their community. So a lot of them turned the cameras on themselves and were able to share their stories with us. So let's watch.
For teenagers, this year of quarantine and remote school in learning and coping, we asked our network of student journalists to reflect on how their world has changed and what they're looking forward to once the pandemic is over. Here's a sample.
It's been a year.
COVID-19. The virus that changed everything for everyone.
It's very overwhelming in this time just to exist.
I think the pandemic affected me the most was mainly through sports, because there was a solid 8 months where we just had no sports, no hope.
I hate being in the house, and I hate my car just sitting outside. It's my car being lonely, man. It wants to go skirt.
I mean, first thing I'd love to do again is go to a movie theater. I've not been to a movie theater in probably over a year.
The pandemic has also made me a lot more of a humble person. More empathetic, I'd say.
Last year, I didn't really take care of myself mentally or physically. Now I work out every morning and eat healthier.
I became more closer with my brother, and I've had to make new friends in the neighborhood because others live in other parts of the town, but some live right around the corner from me.
I feel that I'm a very different person than I was a year ago. I also feel that I'm nicer and more compassionate. And some lessons I've learned throughout that time are to not judge people based off what I know, because I really don't know what they're going through.
I also lost a great family friend due to COVID named Juan back in October. Juan was my grandmother's best friend. My favorite times with him were when he took me and my grandmother to shop and go to parks.
If I learned anything, I learned that life is too short to be wasting time and putting your energy towards the wrong things.
I began to learn how to manage my schedule better, and most importantly, I began to learn how to self-motivate myself and see each day as a new opportunity.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do until this year. I'm either going to be a special education teacher or a nurse, and I think it'd be great to be a nurse because seeing everything that's happening right now and being able to help people and give them vaccines and just be there for people in times of need, I feel like it'd be a great job.
All right, so you see sort of, what we're looking for when we're going to make our videos today. These are really powerful. These are young people talking about their life experiences and what they have gone through this year. So imagine doing this in your own classroom,
For
with your own
teenagers
students.
this year.
There you go. So what we're going to do now, go ahead, Elise.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. Yeah. I was just thinking about all of the different perspectives in that one video that we were able to do just by asking students to do a video diary and just to kind of get their thoughts on paper and really think about idea development through that process. This is exactly what you guys are going to be doing right now. And so for part one, what we want to do is to gather your thoughts. So the first thing that you're going to think about is picking a prompt from one of the two options that we have here. So select the prompt that you'd like to respond to. So option one, we wanted to have a fun one, right? Because obviously there's a lot that we could reflect on about what we've been through this past year, but we also know that summer is like a fun time to just think about things that aren't as serious. So option 1, tell us about your favorite summer hobby. So that's going to be one option. Option 2, tell us about a new activity you started doing during the pandemic that has changed your life. So think about those 2 options. We're going to put them back up in just a little bit, but just start thinking about them right now. And I'll put them in the chat too.
So we're going to
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Victor.
All right, so do a quick outline. Okay, the final video is going to be 1 minute long, so it's not, you're not going to be doing a 3-minute, 5-minute video. It's going to be 1 minute long. So jot down a quick outline. What do you want to do? What do you want to say, or what do you want to show? First out the main idea, or so what? Can you explain that one at least?
Yeah. So as you're thinking about the which prompts you want to do, just think about it as what kind of story that you want to tell. So what is going to be your beginning, middle, and end? Like, what is it that you want to make sure an audience hears from what you're trying to tell them? What do you think is also going to be interesting? So think about that as part of your idea development, and then just jot down a few sentences together. Or if you want to just say, all right, my beginning is I did this, my middle is this, and then my ending is that. Just something really, really quick that you can, that you're going to be able to do in a 1-minute video.
All right.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So now everybody should have on paper, a few ideas that they want to talk about to camera for their video diary. And now we're going to be recording and producing. So a few of you have been asking about the code. So Victor is going to share exactly how you can get that.
For those of you who want to get in the code, you could scan that code right now. So take out your camera and point it to the code, and then you just click that, and then you're going to see that you're going to have to sign in as a guest, and the guest password is right here, KT2021 SRL. But before we do that, I know that some of you are already just trying to get into Flipgrid. We're going to show you a couple of settings that you can do with your own camera. It's going to be a little bit better since most of the cameras are already set to recording 4K. And that could be problematic if your students are going to be filming something for your classroom that's going to be way too large to download or export and so on. So we're going to get to that in a little bit.
And I just want to, sorry, Victor, I just want to clarify, if you go back up to the guest password, so you're not going to be using like an actual, the code, oh, sorry, one more. Yeah. So when you use your QR code and you get this screen, so that's actually, ignore the title at the top because that's for a different conference, but if you look at what you see on your screen, you have to navigate all the way to the bottom of that page and select enter guest password. That's where you're going to be adding the guest password that Victor has on the screen. It's not going to be through the join code when you open up Flipgrid. You have to use this QR code and then enter that guest password.
All right, so when you open up Flipgrid, and you open up that topic, right, which has KT 2021 digital storytelling, it's going to prompt you to add a response. So if you see that button right there, add response, you click on add response, and then you're going to see yourself. You can have the camera point to some selfie camera, and then you can just record. Once you start, you can stop with the same button. Now, you don't need to record everything at once. You can start and stop and continue doing that. The app would allow you to continue adding to your video. Okay, once you are completely done, you recorded all your clips. Now, we have limited this assignment to 1 minute. So make sure you don't go over 1 minute, because if not, the assignment would not let you go over 1 minute. So try to keep it short and sweet, and just know what you're going to be saying. note what you're going to be recording. Once you are done, you can click on that next button, and that next button brings up pretty much your entire sequence or all your clips put together. In there, you could actually click on each clip and trim, or you could swap them and put one in the beginning, one at the end. It has a lot of editing functions that you could do for a short video that you're doing. So that's definitely something that you could do right into the app. Okay, and then the last thing you do, you submit. Very simple. Record, view it, submit. You could do a little bit of trimming, you could do a little bit of editing, but it's very simple. So we wanted to make it simple for you, so that way it's simple for your students as well. If you're going to do this in the classroom, you're not troubleshooting an entire production of video, like recording and editing and doing there's so many things that you could they could go wrong in a bigger production. But this is just like, hey, you're on your phone, and the kids, they probably know the phones better than we do. So it's like they're going to be very comfortable in doing this, but we want you to feel comfortable as well. So.
Yeah, and so it seems like a few are still having trouble joining the event on Flipgrid. So we're going to come back to that slide in just a second. And if you're not able to open it because you are using the device to be on Zoom, then once we're going to pause for a second. Everybody's going to have a few minutes to play around in Flipgrid. We can help those who are having trouble figure that out. But you can also just use your camera phone if you want to record a video diary that way too, if you're not able to get into the app. So there's always a backup. And again, just as a reminder, what you're looking for when you scan the QR code, if you are able to do that, is you're not entering a username. You're going directly to the guest password option at the bottom of the screen that pops up when you use the QR code. And that's where you enter the KET 2021 SRL guest password. But we want to show you a quick example of what you can do in just a few minutes, whether it's with your phone camera or on Flipgrid, if you're on that. And then we're going to send you off for just a few minutes to see what you can do, or to help you troubleshoot. Very quick diary here. This is something that I did. It took, I would say, about like 5 minutes to create for this 1 minute video. So yeah, Victor, play it.
One thing I really loved doing during the pandemic, especially during quarantine, is taking my dog on walks. Hi, Jupiter. Ready to go outside? Time for your morning walk? Let's go. Come on, Jupe. He loves eating plants, but I try not to let him eat too much, otherwise he'll get a stomach ache. My favorite part is walking by our community garden. It's so beautiful right now. All right, we're walking back.
I think it stopped. Did it stop right now?
One thing that my favorite part is walking by our community garden. It's so beautiful right now.
You can pause it, Victor.
Okay.
It's done.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was like super quick, right? Yes, and Mary, I see that you're exactly in the correct place. So the KET 2021 digital storytelling and record button, that's correct. Yes, thank you, Rebecca, for adding those instructions as well. Yes, we're helping each other out. I'm going to copy and paste this again, just in case anybody needs it. Okay, so if you were able to watch the example, what you saw there is just like quick narration and then action. So you want to be as creative as possible in this time, so that you can like just think of a narration and action that you want to record about like your favorite summer activity or something new that you picked up during the pandemic. And thank you, Victor, for putting up the screen again so that everybody has the guest password available. So now we're gonna set you free, and for 5 minutes, you are going to be exploring and using Flipgrid and just seeing what you can do. All you can do is a minute on Flipgrid, so it's definitely a deadline challenge. I know that we're short on time, but let's see what we can do. And then we'll come back and see if we can share any of them before closing really quickly. Larry, we might be running a couple of minutes behind. And we're here in the next 5 minutes. If anybody has any questions, we'd love to help you troubleshoot. And also, if you have the slides, we'll drop them again in the chat. Just know that there's a bunch of additional resources and instructions for this exercise that you can revisit afterwards to play around with and see if it's something that you want to bring to your students.
And also one thing we didn't talk much about, but try to record yourself, talking about, your summer activity, the activity that you learned, during the pandemic, and then also show us, just take a few seconds, 3 to 5 seconds of video of, if you have a hobby, we want to see what you're doing, we want to see what you created, if you created something. So, try to always turn the camera on different things that you've done to show your audience. Okay, remember, you got 1 minute to have a beginning, middle, and end to be able to tell us something. But yeah, let me stop talking so you guys can continue working. All right, so at, I would say 10:50, we will be done. Okay, so 10:50 we'll be done. There's 4 minutes left, so you guys can continue.
Sorry, I was going to say we have a couple of people who want to share. Let's show Claudette. I think she was the first.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, I'm Claudette Edie. So during the pandemic and also last summer and this summer, I started growing tomatoes. Now, one thing that I noticed, I'm not a farmer, so my tomatoes have blight, and so it's forced me to research and also know that, when we get fruit, it is not a given that it is an easy process. So salute to you if you are a farmer and you're providing food for our nation or for your family. And if you have any tips on how to grow tomatoes without getting blight that Google can't help me, maybe some inside, I would love to know about it. Happy growing.
That was great.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Claudette, for doing that. And everybody else who was able to submit. We want to continue seeing your pieces in that Flipgrid and continue the conversation. But I know that we're out of time. Thank you all so much for your attention and for doing this activity with us and for listening. And yeah, Larry, I guess I'll hand it back to you.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Lisa and Victor, for that wonderful session.